Well, welcome into the postgame show. It was game one of Blitzball Battle 4, and it could not have been better from what we just saw between We Got Ice and Team Woogas. As we know, Team We Got Ice, they're always the favorites coming into these tournaments. The fans love them, but Team Woogas with a new face and Jimmy Knorp, man, they had the X factor, but it wasn't just Jimmy. We saw Dan Rourke come through. We saw him getting hits, which is something we're not accustomed to seeing. He got it done on the mound as well. A really, really big upset for Woogas to set the tone going forward as they upset one of the best teams here in the warehouse. 7-6 is your final. And for more on what we just saw down there on the floor, let's get you up to the guys in the booth and Peter Moylan and Chris Rose for their thoughts on this incredible game one.
Welcome to the DraftKings postgame show. It is Blitzball Battle for the Woogas, an extra inning winner, 7-6 over We Got Ice. And boy, we saw the entire gamut in this thing. It was up and down the entire day, right?
A roller coaster, Rosie. I thought the Woogas got off to a great start. 3 runs in the first inning. We Got Ice came back immediately. Zoe was on another level. And then the second inning came around, everything switched. We go to extras, and they walk away with a victory. The Woogas were honestly surprisingly good, and they've set themselves up really nice for this tournament.
You know, it is so important to have not just one guy that you trust throwing the ball, but 2. The question is, does Woogas have that or not?
Yes. When there is no balls that can be thrown, they have absolute stud on the mound.
Like we just saw here in extra innings. In fact, Kelsey Wingert is standing by with one of the stars of the game. Kels?
What a showing we saw from Dan Rourke today. Dan, we saw a lot of hits from you, 3 or more. What were you able to do at the plate that you haven't been able to do in past warehouse tournaments that clicked for you today?
You know, I've had some great teammates along the way, but Jimmy Knorp, he just calmed me down, like kept my composure nice and cool. I think he's rubbing off on me a little bit. And yeah, I mean, my kryptonite's always been Jack Doyle, so I was able to get like a knock or 2 off him, I guess, and yeah, got lucky, but it worked out.
We talked about the X factor that your teammate Jimmy could be in this warehouse. We know he can pitch, we know that he can hit, but you really took over as the pitcher for you guys in this game, coming through in big moments. How much has your practice recently, developing that curveball and being able to stay a little bit under that speed limit better this tournament helped you?
Yeah, no, it's helped a lot. You know, I had some issues with my fastball in the scrimmages where I was like 74, 75, throwing all over the place, but I worked on it a little bit today. I mean, Jimmy's still the number 1 guy, though. It's just expectations for me are a little bit lower, so when I do anything, it's like, oh, wow, you look at him. But, you know, yeah, practice helps.
And We Got Ice, they seem to always be the favorites in these tournaments coming in. They're a fan favorite for you guys to take them down in game 1. You rebranded as human beings for Team Wooga. How big is that for you guys to set the tone?
Oh, no, it's awesome. Me and Jimmy have been texting all week. We got Ice game 1, which is a tall task, but, you know, worked out, a little overtime or whatever you call it, and huge win.
Energy's down for you. Give me a big scream. How fired up are you?
Fired up.
Yeah, it's tough. It was a thriller of a game 1.
Great game.
Knorp is really good with the bat, which we kind of expected. And Rourke is tough to face in a lot of different ways.
I think I wouldn't have been able to do it without my main man, Jimmy Knorp. His confidence is rubbing off on me a little bit, I think. I said this to Kelsey, I've had some great teammates in Blitzball. You know, Drew, my guy Tom, Plouffe, of course. But I think we got something here, me and Jimmy. And it showed in game 1.
I hate facing pitchers who don't know where the ball's going. Because, like, if you're facing, like, that's why I like facing Jack or, like, Trev. Or if they know where it's going, you can kind of, like, play a little dance in your head. Like, this is going to be a strike. Rourke will be, like, free pitches will be hit you in the side. And then the next pitch is 69 bottom pipe. Yeah. So it's just really hard to. Wild. Exactly. It's just really hard to time him up.
I often can, like, get out there and it looks good at first, but I lose it real quick. 1, because the yips. 2, because I'm just, like, for some reason out of shape. I don't know. It just goes away. So Jimmy's still the number 1 guy by far. Let's just get that clear. And like he said, no, for sure. And some of those pitches, credit, like he said to the We Got Ice guys, were not bad pitches at all. They just fucking tagged them shits.
Facing Knorp was like a case study of taking a wiffle ball player, and then you give him a blitz ball. So I think we were all over him at first, and then slowly over time he does, all right, well, let me dip sidearm, let me throw.
He got a lot better as the game went on.
Game 2, he's going to have a full different arsenal, and then he'll probably get a lot more outs like that.
So honestly, like for my first blitzball game, I didn't think I pitched all that bad. Like the We Got Ice guys, just like you got to tip your cap to them. They made some really good swings, but going out for that second inning, I told Dan, like, yeah, they're just seeing me well. Let's see what you got out there. And then so happy and proud of Dan. Like he went out there and absolutely shoved to hold him to 1 in that last inning, which is what he had to do. Like I gave up 5, and he goes out there against one of the best teams, if not the best team in this tournament, and gives up 1 run. So like moving forward, I think that's only going to give both myself confidence to go to Dan and Dan confidence in himself because of just how great he threw the ball.
Super impressive to give up 4 homers in your warehouse debut inning and then go back out and like keep playing.
Yeah.
And like so that's crazy by them. Very impressive.
We got 3 more outs.
for the rest of our lives. I liked Tim Tebow. He was a good man.
They gave him a bad rap, but he was just trying to play ball.
Yeah, he's kind of a cheese ball now, but back then he was cool. At least what I saw in the Netflix documentary.
My hands are sweating. Sweaty hands. That could be a problem.
Here we go, Jimmy. Man, it's crazy.
That's a good pitch.
They're just poking it, bro. They're just poking it.
Yeah. I don't know how he hit that.
Damn.
Tip your cap though again. Making my pitches.
Fuck tipping my cap. I think something suspicious is going on.
I got somebody to love. Yeah, I got somebody to love. This is what dreams.
An hour and a half game.
A long game.
A lot of storylines, a lot of good quotes coming out of this game. Make sure you guys pay attention to that because these storylines are going to continue throughout this entire tournament. These are two teams you can go very, very far, as we know with We Got Ice. And if what we saw from Team Woogas continues, we could see them in those final days in those championship games. But before we close the book on this great game one that we just saw, we want to tell you about our BB4 sponsors. Of course, that is our good friends at DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook is here to help you get closer to the action. Whether you're a diehard basketball fan, you're a hockey fanatic, or looking ahead to golf season, DraftKings has you covered. They always have you covered. So get some skin in the game and download the DraftKings app now and use our promo code WAREHOUSE. And if sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't you worry, because you can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have shots to win some cash prizes. So download the DraftKings app now and use our promo code WAREHOUSE when you do. That is promo code WAREHOUSE only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. All right, we're getting closer to game two here after an incredible game one. Let's get you downstairs to Paxton to set up the matchup. We'll see. It's a big one in game two.
We are here for Game 2 pregame. It's a matchup we've all been waiting for. Haven't seen it since Blitzball Battle 1. We've got Forgotten Rotten and Team Baggage, two teams that are ready to prove themselves. And I talked to both of these teams before this matchup, and they were fired up. I know you guys offensively have wanted to steer away from walks and whatnot. So how are you going to accomplish that and not be reckless offensively?
Yeah, we want to be aggressive early, still work the count. Jake and I are pretty good at working the count, knowing the zone, but we had a lot of walks and not a lot of runs last tournament, so we need to get some extra base hits and try not to get to two-strike counts. I think that's what we've landed on as a team strategy.
What have you been doing offensively to really hone back into what Forgotten Rotten is all about?
I did not have a good attitude last BB3. That's true.
Bad attitude and ego. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see his dynamic with his big brother. Trev's a big point the finger guy, but I don't know if you're going to want to point the finger at the big fella.
Yeah, Marsh. I'm Trev's older brother.
What have you been doing to prepare yourself to step into this tournament to the best of your ability?
Yeah, lots of training. My 11-year-old daughter, Paisley, threw me lots of BP.
I have Trevor make an error in the first inning.
BB4 is here. I got my broski. All I'm doing is getting back to basics. I got my warehouse shoes back, which was a huge thing. I don't know if you remember that last time. I didn't get to wear these. These are still soaked in champagne. They still smell like it. So, I'm going back to basics, guys. I'm going to throw strikes and hit bombs.
We want to know some stats. You want to know some stats. I want to know some stats. So let's throw it to the one and only Jolly Olive in the Olive Pit for some of this.
Well, game two is a matchup of familiar foes, Baggage and Forgotten Rotten, two teams that have been here since Blitzball Battle 1, and that's the last time they played in the championship of that tournament where Forgotten Rotten took down the bosses and hung their first banner. Jake was a monster in that tournament for Baggage, and he hit really well against Trev, who was an MVP later on. Jake went 8 for 10 in that tournament. Jimmy just 2 for 10 against Trevor Plouffe, combining to go 500. But things are a lot different now. A lot has changed. Trevor, still kind of the same dude, though. He threw the second most innings of any pitcher in Blitzball Battle 3. And an important thing to note with his new teammate, his brother, Marshall, who's never pitched before, most of Trevor's outs came via the punch out. He punched out 14 of his 16 batters faced in Blitzball Battle 3, meaning the chances for a ground out may be few and far between for Marshall, who will see pitch and hit for the first time in Blitzball Battle history. This is a classic matchup. I don't know who's going to come out on top at Baggage. Definitely needs this win. Let's see what else the pregame show has for us.
What's up, everybody? How's the vibes? They good? That's awesome. How's the vibes for you?
We gotta go.
What do you mean we gotta go? I'm doing the vibe check. Wait a second.
You didn't hear it.
Vibe check. Vibe check, baby. How we feeling? How we feeling?
We're feeling good. BB4, love you.
All right, Pete Moylan, game number 2, and there's so many layers to this one. I mean, we could start with the fact that Forgotten Rotten and Baggage haven't played since the championship match of Blitzball 1.
That's one.
We could focus on Trevor Plouffe having his brother Marshall here, who has never set foot in the warehouse. In fact, he had no idea what his brother did over at John Boy Media.
Did he know you played baseball at all?
Not sure.
Okay.
It didn't come up in conversation. We could focus on the fact that Team Baggage has never hoisted a banner in their own home. Dealer's choice. What do you want to focus on?
I'm not going to pick either. I'm going to say, was there thought of retirement from these two? Because it feels like the level of competition has started to rise.
Yes.
And their ability to focus on said blitzball is down here somewhere.
Well, this is a team that hit no homers collectively in Blitzball Battle 3. Pitching, their best pitcher had an ERA of 9.
That's not good.
What are Jimmy and Jake inside the walls of the warehouse?
Right now, they're just a test tube dummy.
What?
They are. They're just, people are having their way with them. What?
Prove me wrong. The gauntlet has been thrown down. First, let's get some predictions. Paxton Elrod is down on the cement. Pax?
So I think both of these teams are in a completely different mindset than we saw in BB3 because both Jimmy and Jake are in this warehouse, obviously nonstop. And I think Trev's ego was a little bruised from his showing in last time. But I'm going to have to go Baggage with this one just because I don't think Jimmy and Jake can afford to lose a game at this point. So I think that they're going to give it everything they got. But I will say, when I talk to them, both teams are going with the same strategy. Jake starting and Trev starting. And then they're going to kind of just feel it out, as they say. So it's going to be an interesting one for sure.
All right, Pax, thank you. Pete?
Yes. I don't think Baggage stands a chance.
Really?
Not a chance. I think this is going to be an absolute embarrassment.
An embarrassment. Okay. So I'm a little worried about Marshall Plouffe.
Why is that?
Well, he hasn't played blitzball before.
Right.
He's the oldest competitor. He is a former Division I college pitcher, which I love. I think eventually he'll figure that part out.
Right.
I'm wondering if he can give his brother enough inside the batter's box where Team Baggage won't just pitch around Trevor.
Sure.
That's what I'm worried about.
I understand that. But let me ask you this question. Who would you rather take in a fist fight? Either one of the Baggage teams or Marshall Plouffe?
That's not what this is about, unless we're calling a difference. Does Canobio need to get up here?
Fair enough.
I mean, are we throwing hands? Is
I'm
that
ready.
what it's about?
I'm ready.
With all that being said, I think I take Team Baggage, and not just because they're the bosses. I think they end up winning this thing today. Listen, you'll have to tune in for yourself. We will see you Tuesday in the live stream. We'll see you with Paxton and with Pete Moylan, who's amazed that I predicted Team Baggage. I am Chris Rose for our amazing John Boy Media crew. We will see you for First Pitch Blitzball Battle 4, presented to you by DraftKings.